everyone, good day. So this recorded video lesson is already not applicable for second year A or 2A kasi nakapag-discuss ako sa kanila bago mag-start yung Kambunian, while the remaining sections 2B at saka 2 Charlie or 2C is hindi ako nakapag-discuss. So ito siya is na-discuss ko na sa 2A face-to-face before the said Kambunian. Unfortunately, sa 2B at saka sa 2C is hindi ko na-discuss kasi itong discussion na to, itong topic na to will be one of the coverage of your final exam next week. So, last discussion, we ended on post-mortem lividity or livor mortis, the discoloration of the body after death or the pooling of the blood to the most dependent portion of the body. So, as based on our discussion last week, through post-mortem lividity, it will identify the possible time of death at saka the last position of the body before death. So, ngayon, let's proceed sa the color of lividity may indicate the cause of death. So, dito, sa the color of lividity may indicate the cause of death, carbon monoxide poisoning or cyanide, malalaman mo na namatay ang isang tao because of carbon monoxide kapag ang discoloration, kapag ang post-mortem lividity niya is cherry red to pinkish color, while asphyxia naman ang cause of death kapag ang color of lividity niya or post-mortem lividity is dark lividity. And kapag namatay naman dahil sa phosphorus poisoning, ang color naman ng lividity or post-mortem lividity is dark brown. Ngayon, sa types of lividity, meron tayong hypostatic at saka diffusion. Hypostatic diffusion, dahil under siya sa post-mortem lividity, so ibig sabihin, it pertains to our blood. Ang hypostatic lividity, blood is still in fluid form inside blood vessel. Change as position of the body changes. Blood remains fluid in the blood vessels for 6 to 8 hours. Ibig sabihin, when the person is dead, within 6 to 8 hours, kapag change, ginagalaw yung katawan niya, nag-change din yung blood sa katawan ng patay, sa loob ng katawan ng patay. Kasi ibig sabihin, yung dugo niya sa loob ng katawan niya after death within 6 to 8 hours is still fluid pa. Kaya definition niya, change as position of the body changes. Every time ginagalaw yung katawan ng namatay na is gumagalaw din or nag-change din yung or merong movement sa dugo. Kasi ibig sabihin, yung dugo is hindi pa tumitigas inside the body nung namatay na. While ang diffusion is a lividity coagulated inside blood vessel, change in position will not change its location. Ibig sabihin, kabaliktaran siya ng hypostatic. Kahit iba-ibahin mo, kahit galaw-galawin mo, or ilagay mo sa ibang posisyon, yung katawan ng namatay ng isang tao is hindi na din mag-change yung blood niya inside kasi tumigas na or naging parang matigas na siya. So kahit anong movement na gawin sa katawan ng namatay na person is hindi na din mag-change or mag-move yung dugo niya inside. So ano nga ba ang importance ng post-mortem lividity? So, isa sa mga importance nito, of course, kaya siya tinawag na post-mortem lividity, it is one of the sign na patay na yung isang tao. Change of the blood, discoloration of the blood. Number 2, it enables the investigator, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, through post-mortem lividity, na determine ang possible time of death. At the same time, kasi halimbawa, kung nag-change pa, kapag i-change mo yung posisyon ng namatay na tao, then yung blood niya inside is nagkakaroon din ng changes or hindi pa na-solidify, automatic, ibig sabihin, hindi pa siya 8 to 12 hours na mamatay. Within 6 to 8 hours parang. Pero kapag tumigas na, hindi na nagmo-move, ibig sabihin, more than 8 hours na siyang patay, kaya meron tayong tinatawag na diffusion. Next one, it determines the position of the body after death. Kasi nga, ang blood under sa postmortem lividity through gravity, kung halimbawa napatay by means of hanging ang isang tao, meaning ang yung blood niya is nasa under feet niya or nasa paa niya. Kasi yun yung pinaka most dependent portion na katawan ng na part ng katawan nung namatay. And kapag nakahiga naman, meaning yung lividity niya is nasa likod niya. Kasi nga, yun yung pinaka most dependent portion ng namatay. Next one, it may indicate the cause and manner of death. Balikan natin dito, malalaman mo na carbon monoxide or poisoning by means of cyanide, ang pagkamatay ng isang tao, depende kung ano yung color ng lividity niya. So that's why, number 4, it may indicate the cause and manner of death. So dito sa characteristics of postmortem lividity, same din po ito ng mga na-discuss natin bago tayo nagkaroon ng oral recitation. So kung meron tayong postmortem lividity or livor mortis, pooling of the blood to the most dependent portion of the body, meron naman tayong tinatawag na rigor mortis or postmortem rigidity. So ito siya, stiffening of the body which occurs 2 to 6 hours after death and is characterized by hardening of the muscle. Meaning, ang rigor mortis, postmortem rigidity is nag-e-exist siya or malalaman mo na ito yung nangyayari kapag nanigas na yung katawan ng namatay na tao. Kaya nga kung mapapansin, mas nagiging mabigat yung dead person or yung body of the dead person because of this hardening of the muscle. Kaya nga, 'di ba, usually kapag namamatay ang isang tao, ang ibang practice is nalalagyan ng formalin para hindi tumigas yung katawan maliban sa hindi babaho. Next one, the chemical reaction that causes rigidity in the muscle groups or stiffening of the body after death due to the disappearance of adenosine triphosphate. So kaya tumitigas yung muscles ng isang dead body is because the absence or nawawala na yung adenosine triphosphate sa katawan niya. Kaya ang rigor mortis is hardening of the muscle ng dead body of the person. Next one, rigor mortis disappears with decomposition. Ibig sabihin, nawawala ang rigor mortis kapag nagsastart ng ma-decompose or mabulok yung katawan ng isang tao. Cold or freezing will delay the onset of rigor mortis as well as prolong its present. Meaning, yung paninigas or hardening of the muscle under rigor mortis, nakadepende siya sa temperature kung saan namatay yung isang tao. So, iba or mas matagal yung paninigas ng muscles kapag nasa malamig na area. So it involves all muscles at the same time. So tandaan lang sa rigor mortis, kapag stiffening of the muscle, nanigas yung katawan, nanigas yung muscle ng isang patay na tao, isang tawag doon postmortem rigidity. Algor mortis, cooling of the body. Livor mortis, pooling of the blood to the most dependent portion of the body. So sa rigor mortis, dito na ang rigor mortis, ito yung sinasabi ko, nakadepende sa area kung saan namatay ang isang tao. Kapag malamig na area, may possibility na ma-delay yung rigor mortis or paninigas ng muscles ng isang tao. Kapag naman, like for example, sa tropical countries, dahil sa Pilipinas, 24 to 48 hours nagsiset yung rigor mortis. And 36 to 48 hours naman sa some hours during summers. And the same. So, ibig sabihin, sa Pilipinas, dahil tropical countries tayo, dahil mainit dito, so 24 to 48 hours sa Pilipinas. Sa tropical countries naman, sa other tropical countries, dahil mas mainit doon, so 36 to 48 hours. Nadidelay ang rigor mortis, depende sa temperature kung saan nandun yung katawan ng dead body. So, rigor mortis, to sum it up, ibig sabihin, it is the stiffening or hardening of the muscle. Ngayon, kung sa postmortem lividity, meron tayong hypostatic at saka diffusion. Dito naman sa rigor mortis, meron tayong heat stiffening, cold stiffening at saka cadaveric spasm. Ngayon ang heat stiffening dahil under sila sa rigor mortis. Ano nga ulit yung concept ng rigor mortis? Stiffening or hardening of the muscles, meaning nanigas yung katawan ng patay na tao. Ngayon ang heat stiffening from the word itself, heat stiffening, hardening of the muscle, nanigas yung muscle ng isang tao, ng isang dead body because of too much exposure sa heat or dahil sa sobrang init. It's either by means of burning. So ang tawag doon, heat stiffening. Or it's either natapunan siya or because of hot liquid. So ang tawag doon, heat stiffening. Overall, kapag nanigas ang muscles ng isang dead body, ang tawag doon, cadaveric spasm. Kapag nanigas dahil sa too much exposure sa heat, ang tawag na doon, heat stiffening. Siyempre, kung may heat, mayroon ding cold stiffening. So ito naman, stiffening of the muscles or the body by means of too much exposure sa malamig. Kaya nanigas yung isang body or isang muscles ng patay na tao. So, ang heat stiffening because of too much exposure to heat, cold stiffening because of too much exposure to freezing temperature. Dahil sa sobrang lamig, kaya nanigas or nanginsa yung katawan ng isang tao. While ang cadaveric spasm naman is under pa rin sa rigor mortis, or ang another term for cadaveric spasm is instantaneous rigidity. So, ito siya, it is the instant stiffening of certain group of muscles. Ibig sabihin, specific group of muscles yung nanigas. Like for example, ipagpalagay natin, yung isang dead body, yung nanigas lang is yung both arms niya. Kaya nga, certain group of muscles, specific group of muscles yung nanigas. Ngayon, bakit specific group of muscles lang yung nanigas? Kasi, ibig sabihin nun, may possibility na yung pagkamatay niya is by means of violent death or extreme nervous tension, kaya nanigas yung specific location or specific muscles niya lang. So, to sum it up, kapag nanigas yung muscles ng isang dead body, ang tawag doon is post-mortem rigidity. Kapag nanigas because of too much exposure to heat, heat stiffening. Kapag nanigas ang muscles because of freezing temperature, cold stiffening. Ngayon, kapag nanigas ang specific muscles or specific group of muscles ng isang tao, ang tawag doon, cadaveric spasm. Usually, kaya lang specific group of muscle, kaya certain group of muscle yung nanigas is because violent death yung naging cause ng paninigas ng certain group of muscles na yun. Like for example, ang nanigas lang is yung both arms lang ng dead body. So, ibig sabihin, ang cause ng pagkamatay niya is it's either violent death or because of nervous tension. Next one is yung tinatawag natin na stage of secondary flaccidity. So, ang primary stage of primary flaccidity na discuss natin before Cambonian. So, ang next doon is ang stage of secondary flaccidity. So, dito, a muscular change characterized by the softness and flaccidity of the muscle in which no longer respond to mechanical or electrical stimulation. Meaning, kung may stiffening of muscles, meron naman tayong softness and flaccidity of the muscles. Meaning, kahit anong gawin mo doon, wala nang reaction na ipoproduce yung muscle compare kapag sa buhay na tao mo gawin. So, dito ang dapat lang tandaan is yung naka-underline. Next one, onset and stage of decomposition. So usually, kailan ba nagsa-start ma-decompose, mabulok, or mag-change yung appearance talaga ng isang dead body? So usually, nagsa-start yan 1 day to 2 days after death. And then finally, the dead body becomes skeletal remains in months considering the factors that influence the rate of putrefaction. So ang decomposition usually, nagsa-start ng mabulok, mag-change yung mga physical appearance ng dead body within 1 to 2 days after ng death niya, after siya mamatay. Ang tinatawag naman na putrefaction is the process of dissolution of tissues by the digestive actions of its enzymes and bacteria that results to softening and liquefaction of tissues are usually accompanied by the liberation of foul-smelling gases and change of color of the tissues. Kaya kung mapapansin, usually, kapag nakikita sa social media, yung mga katawan, although naka-blurred siya, ng mga namatay na tao is parang may sugat-sugat siya sa katawan or nag-iiba na yung physical appearance. So, dissolution of tissues, ang tawag doon is putrefaction, na isa siya sa palatandaan na na-decompose or nabubulok na yung katawan ng namatay na tao. So, para mas maintindihan, meron tayong tinatawag na 3 special forms of putrefaction. So, hanggang dito na lang or hanggang dito lang yung coverage ng exam natin. Kasi ito siya, na-discuss ko na siya sa 2A, pero unfortunately, ang 2B at saka 2C, hindi ko na-discuss because of some certain circumstances. So ngayon, sa putrefactions, meron tayong 3. Mummification, a condition where is removal of the body fluid before decomposition set in the resulted sinking and preservation of the body. So usually, common ito sa ibang bansa. Para ma-preserve yung body ng namatay na tao is kinukuha yung fluid sa katawan. So like for example, yung dugo kinukuha, then binabalot ng parang yung commonly is yung white na tela. So, ang tawag doon is mummification. Next one, yung saponification naman. Also termed as a diffuser formation. This formation substance, the formation of a soft, friable, and brownish white greasy substance in a soft fatty tissues of the body after death. So ito siya, the formation of a soft friable and brownish white greasy substance. Ang mummification kasi, maliban sa ang common na usually na impression kapag narinig na mummy or mummification is that yung binabalot lang sa white na tela. So, maliban dyan, kinukuhaan ng body fluid, which is yung dugo, at the same time, para ma-preserve yung katawan is usually ginagawa siyang dry. So, ang tawag doon is mummification. Ang saponification naman is medyo, kung dry ang mummification, dito naman medyo white greasy substance siya. Ibig sabihin is medyo basa siya. While last one, ang maceration, dito ang dapat lang tandaan, usually common lang ito sa mga fetus. So, characterized by softening and discoloration of tissues as well as formation of blisters in the skin due to actions of autolytic and proteolytic enzymes in the absence of putrefactive bacteria. So, may mga parang sugat na may mga puti-puti na parang tubig. So, ganun ang maceration. So, dito sa kanilang 3, ang mummification is pinapreserve yung katawan ng namatay na tao by means of kinukuha yung body fluid, at the same time is parang para ma-preserve yung katawan is dapat dinidry siya, parang ganon. Then, binabalot sa white na tela, while ang saponification is white greasy substance. Ang maceration naman is common lang siya, usually sa fetus, and mapapansin mo na yung katawan nito is may mga blisters na nabuo. So, yun lang yung coverage ng exam natin para at least uniform ang 2A, B, at saka 2C. So, if ever may mga follow-up questions kayo, do not hesitate to message me sa group chat natin. At the same time, kung nahihiya kayo sa group chat, so pwede din kayong mag-private message. Yun lamang po. God bless everyone and good luck on your examination next week. Happy holidays!